Guys, so week 14, and we're gonna go for the vSAN topic, and we're gonna discuss that, and then we're gonna start creating lab as well. So it's a bit longer lab, lots of configurations there. And why is it such a big deal with vSAN? Don't we already have a SAN? So why do we need a vSAN, right? So for that, um, we will now go ahead and talk about it. So vSAN is needed for those companies that have a bit less budget and they can't really afford the SAN solution. So then they go for the vSAN solution, right? So what happens is that whatever resources you have, so what will you have? So, okay, let me just go ahead and get the other slide up here, up here. Oh, okay. I was scared to death. Hey, where are the slides? It was down there. So copy from there and then go to here. Yeah. So virtual stand, data stores, or vSAN. So what is it anyway? Now, uh, this is one diagram that I have explained it, but I'll try to either create a new one or go for an older one. Oh, where's the definition? Okay, so I'll have to define seriously. Now, vSAN is where you have to really, um, so first of all, you can't afford. So when we say afford, a SAN solution normally is um, pretty expensive, like 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, 200, 500,000 even. And some, well, in banks, the SAN solution even goes more than $1 million. If they are really expanded and they really need state-of-the-art technology for so there are remote disks, remote shared disks over the network that are coming and are mapped to the physical servers here, and those we call as LUNs or logical unit number, right? So those LUNs are going to then the LUNs provide data stores. And on top of the LUNs, we created data stores as well, right? So we had a software SAN, but this is if a company purchases a SAN solution, then it really goes very expensive. So the companies would then still want to have a cheaper solution that still offers the high availability of a SAN shared disk over the network or LAN, right? So that is what the companies which are medium to small size companies, they would really like that. Now I'm gonna grab a diagram here and then go for. We actually have all the diagrams here. So now for vSAN, the good thing is, and first VMware implemented that or introduced it, and then Microsoft also followed suit and tried to offer that. Now vSAN solution is first of all that the companies cannot afford a SAN solution because it's so expensive. So but what does vSAN basically offers? So it offers highly available data store, um, which comprises of the local minimum Minimum two. Yeah, minimum two unused local disks of minimum three hypervisors, right? Minimum three hypervisors. So this is what the vSAN solution is, that it's going to offer a data store that comprises of the minimum two local disks, so it could be three as well. Now, suppose we already have one disk where the hypervisor is, right? So if we go with minimums only, obviously in production environment, you would have 10 extra disks or 20 extra disks that are actually local disks. And here I have to now create another hypervisor because we're going to be actually installing an extra hypervisor now. And that also minimum is comprising of two local disks. So what happens is that as I put there, that it has to be a data store that totally depends on the minimum two local disks of three hypervisors. So what is being provided here? So first of all, it's going to be called vSAN data store. Okay, so what's the big deal with that? It's highly available. How? Well, it is created on top of minimum two disks of minimum three hypervisors. Okay, minimum two, yeah, okay, but why minimum three hypervisors? Because that's the next thing. It can tolerate the loss of. So vSAN can tolerate the loss of one hypervisor and still keep the vSAN data store running. If there are minimum three hypervisors, so it can still tolerate the loss of one hypervisor. So that's the high availability. First of all, you suppose you have here 1 terabyte disks, right? So 1 TB disks here, right? 1 TB and 1 terabyte disks. So suppose now you have 3 terabyte total available for the vSAN data store that got created on the two unused disks of three hypervisors. Now, when you create a virtual machine on top of that, so that virtual machine can be created on on a vSAN data store and can be loaded on the RAM of hypervisor 3 or hypervisor 4, which we are about to create, or hypervisor 2. And they will all be having their disks here, right? Or it could be 5 virtual machines here, 12, 15 virtual machines here, 20 virtual machines here, and okay. So there are virtual machines here on top of a shared data store, which is created on top of the minimum two local disks of three hypervisors, right? Now, there are virtual machines running here. Now, total storage of this data store would be whatever the space was provided by these disks. So if each disk was 1 terabyte and there are 6 disks, so total size would be 6 terabyte here. This whole data store will have 6 terabyte to offer, right? Plus, if now suppose the disaster does strike and one hypervisor is lost, then what will happen is that this virtual machine, then what will happen, because this hypervisor was lost, so HA will kick in and this virtual machine would be loaded on either this hypervisor or the other hypervisor, and the virtual machine will be still started. If the virtual machine was having fault tolerance, then obviously it will simply fail over. But what will happen is that if one hypervisor goes down, so the terabyte space offered by that particular hypervisor will be lost as well, obviously. So 2 terabyte out of 6 terabyte will not be available. Whatever virtual machines were there will be restarted on the other hypervisors, or share, or it would fail over to the other hypervisors in case FT was used, which we did in last class. And well, the thing is that the whole vSAN data store will still keep on running even while we lost 2 disks that were contributing to this vSAN data store and a full hypervisor. So vSAN data store will still keep on working. Only that particular space will not be available for the duration of the crash of this hypervisor and for the duration of the downtime of this hypervisor. But if it restarts, obviously the storage will be restored here, and if it was now 4 terabyte and it comes back, then it will be again 6 terabyte. But the thing is that the data store is highly available even if one of the 3 hypervisors it is on is lost, one of the 3 hypervisors, any one, and that space for that duration of the downtime of the hypervisor is not available, and the machines are also restarted on the other hypervisor. If obviously 2 hypervisors, any 2, so hypervisor gone, then the whole vSAN data store will be lost, and all the virtual machines will be down in that case. But so that's the thing, that it buys you time to just make some adjustments, take backups, and you're alerted that, hey, one hypervisor is down, so try to get it up and running, or just add another hypervisor to this set of 3 hypervisors in the vSAN to complete that redundancy of storage. So a highly available data store is created, and it's just using the local resources of your physical servers. So that would really be saving a lot of money for those companies which actually don't have money to invest on the SAN solution. And without obviously a SAN solution, you don't have a professional virtual environment, right? So you must have some kind of SAN solution there. So this is that SAN solution that totally comprises of whatever you already have. So company, obviously, when they purchase the physical server, suppose HP, Dell, or any other, so obviously they always buy a lot of disks, right? And SSD disks, solid state drives, right? So those disks are always sometimes they're not even being used. So that's why this solution is there, that the small companies, medium companies with low budget can create a vSAN and use all the unused local disk. Suppose you were using that, you could just move all that data from there to some other storage, and then format them fully, and then use it for creating a vSAN data store that comprises of the minimum 2 disks of, or it could be 64 disks that it is on, or more, but minimum 2 disks of minimum 3 hypervisors, right? So it's a vSAN data store that is highly available and can tolerate the loss of 1 hypervisor worth of disks, or the whole hypervisor itself. It can tolerate the loss of that, and still this vSAN data store will be there, highly available, in even when the disaster strikes. So that's the specialty of the SAN solution, right? The expensive SAN solution that you would expect that suppose you purchase this in $200,000, and there's a backup solution for that too. And if the LUN actually crashes here, you have another LUN that it would fail over right away to, and all the data will be still safe. So obviously, when you're spending like 100,000 or 200,000, 500,000, So you will get state-of-the-art backup solution, highly available solution for that, right? But here, without spending that kind of $100,000, $200,000 cash, you could just go for whatever you have and create a highly available storage on the basis of that. So that's the main point about the vSAN solution. Obviously, making it happen is an entirely different thing. For the companies, it should need no challenge because they already have companies normally already have enough hypervisors here. Even small companies could have 10 hypervisors, 20 hypervisors. It requires just 3 to create a vSAN data store. So we do have 3 hypervisors, but obviously we're not using the VIP hypervisor here. The VCSA virtual machine is there, and there is it also is offered native high availability, which we've discussed at the earlier time as well at start of the course. That the VCSA can be on 3, its copies could be on 3 other hypervisors. You also need minimum 3 hypervisors for native high availability for the VCSA as well. So, but anyway, we're going to be creating one more hypervisor, and that's going to be 6 GB each. 3 hypervisors will be having 6 GB, minimum 2 disks, and 2 network card adapters here. So other than that, there are a few more points, but the main point there is that you will have, minimum 2 disks or more, and then it can tolerate the loss of 1 hypervisor. There are other solutions in the market as well, like Nutanix. It's totally based on this solution, that is hyperconvergence. I think that's another name for that, where they just offer their hardware to the data centers, and they say that if you take our hardware, then already hyperconvergence is built into it, like the local data store, highly available data store will be there. Even with 2 hypervisors and 3 hypervisors, they offer that. Hypergrid is another company. There are many companies who are actually having their products based on this concept of which this vSAN is, that you just create a highly available storage on the basis of the local disks that are available to you, and create third host. Well, what we would need to do then is create a third host. Yes, we're going to be creating third host now. Add 2 disks, 300 GB each. We can give it whatever size fixed. So we can give it actually if any unique number that we have been given before. And then there is we can give 6 GB memory to all 3 hypervisors other than the 2 machines we have. We're going to have 5th machine now in total. So, but the A6i 2, 3, and now A6i 4, they will all have 6 GB RAM. So that's already kind of overcommitting, but hopefully, it normally works. Add 3 third hosts to the vCenter. Yeah, we have to install a totally new host. We have to add it to the vCenter, just like other hosts. We have to add it to the cluster as well, and we have to add it to the Tor data center, then Tor cluster, and it has to. We can put there that we're going to create VM kernel ports in all 3 hypervisors, and then we're going to configure vSAN. So it's not that easy. It's a pretty time-consuming solution, but it's very interesting to see that concept, in place. And so we're going to exactly start doing that. In fact, we should start that because of the limited time we have. We have to start early because we need to create that. And we're going to go with the slide some more. Some T-shoot here, it says adding new host, please give it minimum of 6 GB for vSAN. Requirement for that, 6 GB. Try to choose vSAN storage policy when creating VM on top of vSAN data store that you have just created to test it. Yeah, so I'm going to show you, and make sure the lockdown mode is off. That's another thing. So there's a VUM or there's a VMware update manager, which is now called Lifecycle Manager. So we're going to do a small lab on that too. That we're going to be, I'm going to show you how to update the 3 clients. So it's, you know, so updates, simple updates, just to, okay, do the updates on the third host. But what we're going to do is do the updates, which are actually 2 updates there, local updates, on all 3 hosts. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to show you how on all 3 hosts, and as well, and it's disks deducted from vSAN. So okay, yeah. So the main point here is the update level. Suppose there are driver updates, there are security updates. The update level of all the hosts must be same. Either you update them all or you don't update them all. But it cannot be that 2 are updated with newer updates and 1 is not. So vSAN will not work if the update level is not the same, right? And it works if all 3 hosts are detected. They will be detected if all hosts are on same update level. Oh, okay. I mentioned that above. So nothing to do with we have no license GR. So yeah, that was way back. I was thinking that, hey, why it is not working? And it was something else actually. So that's the updates, and then learner objectives. Yeah, virtual SAN, we're going to learn that. It's going to look like that. And we've already talked about it. Now, there's another thing that is very unique with the nowadays, it might not apply that much, but and in fact, we will still have to do it in our environment. But what am I talking about? So what I'm talking about is that you can see SSD is written there and HD SSD. So it says that create 2 groups and minimum 2 disks, I said, right? So one of the disk can be HDD as well, which is the older version of that. And one disk, so create one disk group, which has mix of HDD, which are slow disks, hard disk drives, and SSD solid state drive, which are fast disks, and create another group of disks, which has to have SSD. So SSD and here HDD SSD, SSD, HDD SSD. So 2 groups of disks has to be there. So obviously, even if one disk is each group is there, then it's also still okay. I'm going to show you when we are configuring that, and so it's going to really work. So now, before going through the rest of the slides here, and I'll be explaining all these concepts as well as we start configuring it. We need to start doing the vSAN lab, at once, so we could really reach that where I could explain the whole thing. There will be a lot of new terminologies that will be coming our way, and we will be then talking about those. So first thing is that add third ESXi, add its A record, add it to vCenter, add memory 6 GB to all 3 ESXi hosts, add VM kernel, port to all 3 ESXi hosts, add totally 2 new disks to each host if there already is another disk and was used before, then it will not be detected. So if you have a used disk inside, it's not gonna automatically format that and use it. If it sees that it was used by something and there's some data there, then vSAN will not touch that disk, right? So that is, the main steps here that I'm going to start doing here, so we could save some time. So first thing, again, so I'm just going to go ahead here, and what we're going to do is we're going to temporarily, so since we're going to be adding other host here, so this would be keep powered on keep powered on, and so that would be power off, right? So why? Oh, that's I would say temporarily powered off, right? Temporarily powered off. And what we're going to do is also make it 6 GB RAM. It is already 6 GB, then don't touch it. It's okay. And make it 6 GB RAM and make it 6 GB RAM. Also, add 2 disks. I think we don't have 800 GB disks, so whatever size we can give, it's okay. It's thin provision, right? Add 8 GB 2 disks. So that's obviously for everyone. Add 8 GB 2 disks and add 8 GB 2 disks. Also, here only, I'm going to be adding add 2 NICs as well, just to implement best practices of what we were doing before to deploy a VM kernel port. Okay, so here I'm going to temporarily power off these two, but when they're powered off, I'm going to fix their RAM. If they're not 6 GB, then I'll put them as 6 GB. And the other thing is that here 2 disks I'll be adding when they are powered off. I'll be adding 2 disks as well. And this I'm going to be creating totally new, obviously, and it's going to be at dash ESXi 04, right? So its A record has to be created as well. Then add an A record for ESXi 04 and IP, obviously. So also we will let it have its IP we will let it IP be taken by. We don't have to put an IP, so dynamic IP. We can just, because it's just for today, we need it. We don't need it after that. So we can just let it take IP from dynamic IP. So these are some of the settings for today that we need to make to make this vSAN lab happen. And there's a question going on outside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll connect to this. Well, the other two are already, actually ESXi 1 is also down, so I'm just going to resume it. But ESXi 2 are, they are not shut down, they are actually frozen. I want them shut down because if they're frozen state, suspended state, I cannot change their RAM in that case, right? So I have to turn them on as well, these two, and then properly shut them down. So I could add disks, two extra disks, 800 GB each, and make them 6 GB RAM instead of 8 GB RAM, right? So they are frozen or suspended state. If I just go there, then I cannot change that. It's grayed out, right? Because they're suspended. It won't let me change the hardware. So this means I need to power them up. If they were suspended, power them on and then properly shut them down. If they were already shut down, then keep them shut down and just change their RAM and keep them shut down until the ESXi 4 is not fully installed. We're gonna keep them shut down. So ESXi 2 is started. Yep.
Sir, ESXi 2 and ESXi 3, we are keeping as 6 GB RAM, or we are Because EXXI2 is 8 GB, so we are reducing to 6, and 3 is also we are keeping it as 6, right?
Yes. So E6i2 6 GB, E6i3 6 GB, E6i4 6 GB. Yeah. So
Okay,
all
and
three.
what if we have number 1 as 16, ESXi1 as 16?
Yeah,
Do we need to?
one, we're not changing anything. If it has 16, let it have 16.
Okay.
But then 6 times 3, 18 plus 16. So it's a lot of overcommitting now. Uh, hmm. So is there a PhD in maths who would tell us that how much is 2 GB plus 16 GB plus 18 GB? So it's
36.
36.
Yeah.
Oh, seems 36. And those who have 32 GB RAM, only one lucky one has actually 48 GB. So you're the one who has 48 GB, you're good already. Yeah, you can just go ahead with that. The rest are having 32 GB RAM max. We have VCSA machine still on 12 GB, as I remember. And we gave this guy A6A1 as 16 GB. So what we can do as well is that we can put it down to 14. That would take 2 out of 36. Still, we are 2 GB more overcommitted from 32. In fact, 4 GB more overcommitted because 2 GB is supposed to be still given to the system itself for the background processes. So, I and some of the students have actually done this stunt of overcommitting, and it still works because it's not gonna actually go up to use the whole 38 GB. So it's okay to give them this RAM while keeping this on 16 GB. So yeah, it's gonna be 36 GB, but we're overcommitting, yes. But I'm sure we're not gonna reach up to that level of 16 GB. The usage of we're not installing any operating system inside, so we're good.
So normally the vSAN that we are deploying is not for ESXi1 because it is having VCSA, or any hypervisor having VCSA is doesn't need vSAN, or is it for normal hypervisors?
So that's a very good question. And this is only for our lab, that we're not touching this whole hypervisor. Otherwise, this in a proper environment, professional environment, VCSA has a feature called native high availability configured for it, and native HA high availability requires three hypervisors of its own, just to configure three native high availability. And it means that uh, two more copies of VCSA VM are created on two separate hypervisors, right? Or hosts, same thing. So since we don't have that kind of lab that we would have, then we would have to have six hosts minimum just to have the native high availability. So we can't do anything else then, because VCSA cannot be shut down, and when we are doing the lab, we are restarting the machines as well. If we restart the machine, it affects the VCSA. So
So
yes, VCSA has to be on top of a vSAN data store as well, if vSAN data store is created. If not, this native high availability can take care of the VCSA's high availability. If it is there, but you're still not able to use, it's okay. If it is there and you're able to use vSAN data store, it's still okay. Both cases, because it has its own fully independent redundancy system and high availability system. Yeah, you were saying?
it's kind of vSAN is a smaller brother of native HA, kind of like that, right?
Mm,
It's smaller version.
no, 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 no. So vSAN is a smaller brother. Yes, you're right about till here. You're right, but smaller brother of who? So vSAN is
Native
the
native HA.
younger, actually not even younger brother, the little baby, newborn baby of a SAN solution. So vSAN data store is just for storage high availability, while native high availability that I'm talking about is the high availability of the virtual machine and its storage, the whole package. And native high availability is only created for VCSA, for the vCenter itself. This native high availability solution is not available for any other virtual machine. Okay, and that because you mentioned VCSA, so I mentioned that it has its own high availability solution, so it does not depend on vSAN data store. But what does vSAN data store really offer? It only offers this highly available data store, a highly available storage solution only. But that is the same solution that is offered by this guy as well. The only thing is you have to spend $100,000 or $200,000 for purchasing a SAN solution with all the hardware, while the same thing can be done comprising of your local disks, and it's only going to also offer highly available storage. So vSAN data store offers just highly available storage, while VCSA, if it is placed on top of vSAN data store, it's okay with its separately configured native HA solution. So it's okay. It's going to have highly available storage as well. Otherwise, this VCSA already has, suppose it is configured, so it will already have its copy machine here, its copy machine here as well, right? So if this goes down, it still has its copy machine, right? If these two goes down, it still has the actual machine here. So VCSA is safe whether you have a highly available storage solution called vSAN data store or not. It is just safe. If you have it and provide it, it's good. If you don't have it, it still doesn't care. And when you have it, better provide it. That's what I would say. So
Okay.
yeah, so this is totally separate concept, and this is totally separate. Just underlying storage is highly available, but it has its own, vCenter has its own native high availability solution to stay highly available as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, so now again, because of that question, and that's a very good question. So either you will have this guy, or you will have this guy. So it cannot be that you don't have this and you did not even put this. So you have to have some kind of SAN in your environment, in your VMware environment. So either this, if this is there, yes, VCSA will be living on top of this. If you can afford much more money, your company can afford, then VCSA's disk will be actually on top of this. So just 5 minutes ago, I said that even if it's not there, it's okay. No. That's wrong. That's wrong. So I need some more tea here. Either you will have this. So majority of the companies will have this SAN solution, and medium to large size companies, they would have millions of dollars coming as a net profit. So obviously they would love to spend on highly available storage because those virtual machines and data is getting them all the money, right? So either they will have this or they have to have this then. If they don't have this or that, then it's not even a virtual environment. So yeah, either this or that. Plus, you want to secure VCSA more, go for native high availability. You just need to dedicate two more hypervisors for that. So yes, this has to be there for this, or this has to be there. Now in our lab, that's a problem. I'm not touching this because we will have to do a restart. We have to have a crash test, and if we crash this VCSA, then we have to wait 15 minutes just to have it start and come back. So, and then obviously it's 2 copies required. There's another limitation here. Each copy, if we create this native high availability, which I would really love to create, each copy needs a 16 GB RAM minimum. So that's why it's not doable, even if we have 32 GB RAM lab, physical machines. Otherwise, I would have created this. Plus, I would have been showing you vSAN data store. So there are some hard stops and limitations here. But the thing is that vSAN data store is a must for any virtual machine, including vCenter. If you don't have, if your company cannot afford this guy. Okay. So yeah, I just corrected myself as well. Yes, it really needs that in our lab. If we are not putting it here, you know why? Because we have this dude here, this software solution here. So we're pretending that this is actually this guy here, this one. So we're pretending that we have that $100,000 solution already here. So that's why our VCSA is okay right now. But for those companies which cannot afford that $100,000 solution, they have to first actually configure this dude here, vSAN, and then get this VCSA up here on this. So yeah, that's a little more tricky. They must have 6 hypervisors. Just to do that, we can't afford to have 6 hypervisors there. So it gets really complicated. But I would love to do that and show if I get more resources. Definitely. Okay. Anyway, I hope it's not confusing because I kept on repeating and then I had a mistake of my own, which I thankfully corrected it as well. So we're going to go back to the lab here, and that's where we're going to now we have 2 hypervisors shut down here, right? And I'm going to put them to 6 GB, 6 GB. And I'm going to add 2 disks. Oh, I just put here 8. It's 800 GB. 800. It could be, this random number. Why 800? Well, go for 600. As long as you didn't use that number. I think we used here 500, 500. So yeah, we can go for even 600. Doesn't matter. It's thin provision. It doesn't take space. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to the lab. And A6i2, A6i3, I'm going to temporarily shut down now because I need to make some changes. RAM and hard disk changes. Shut down, shut down. So once these 2 guys are shut down, the RAM need to go down to 6 GB each and 2 disks. Okay, this is shut down, so I'm just going to do that now. RAM is down to 628. You can just type it there as well, 6208. That's one thing, RAM. Second thing is I need to add 2 empty disks as well. So I'm just going to click the add button. It's already on hard disk. I'm going to click next. Think NVMe. Next. Create a new virtual disk. Yes. And I'm just randomly giving 800 just to see, oh, these are the disks for vSAN or whatever we point here. And we should remember that these are for vSAN. Nothing else. Next. Yeah. Outside name is okay. So 1 disk added here. I'm going to add another disk, minimum 2. NVMe next to create new virtual disk 1800 next to finish. All right, so press OK here. So that's 6 GB RAM and 800 GB 2 disks are there according to the plan. I'm going to go for memory here as well. 6208. I'll just go directly here. 6208. Click anywhere else. And then, yeah, it changed. And then go for add hard disk next to NVMe next to create new virtual disk next 800 GB. It's thin provision, so it's okay. Finito and add hard disk next NVMe next create new virtual disk next 800. Okay, so the changes here for 6 GB and 200 GB disks is done. The work here on these machines according to this diagram is done. So turn powered off. Yeah. 6 GB, 6 GB done, and 800 is also done. So 800 here as well. Now I'm going to create the whole hypervisor, add it to the vCenter, add it to the cluster, add its E record here. So the whole thing. Yeah, so that's a bit longer task, and I'll check that what's the naming convention I'm using here for the other hypervisor. I'll click add a virtual machine here, go to options here, and then just copy this name so I could give it to the next hypervisor just to follow the naming convention. I'm just gonna click home here, go for create a virtual machine, typical, next. Yeah, so the hypervisor path is already not given. It's VCSA path, so I'm just gonna click browse here. VMvisor installer 7. Yeah, next. And I'm gonna paste that name, but change it to E6i 4. I have just one drive, so I'm just gonna keep it on that. And next. Well, the first disk is the hypervisor disk. It's the hypervisor gets installed on that, so it's 200 GB as per our rule for the other hypervisors. First disk. Next, and customize hardware.
Sir, sorry,
Yeah.
can you just go back a little bit?
Oops.
Uh, a
Yeah,
new
sure.
file, from home, new hypervisor, right?
Yeah. So from click home and click new virtual machine, and
New
then
virtual
typical.
machine. Yeah, typical, and then
Then yeah, make sure it's VMvisor installer. This one.
VMvisor installer. Okay,
VCS. Oh, not VCSA. So yeah, this one, VMvisor. And
next, and this
yeah.
is
Oh yeah, so the
ESC.
name is according to the naming convention we're using. Your first name is exercise 04 dash hum dash, well, that's when the course started, so, or the lab started, 16 June 2022. Once you have put in this name, oh, I should not say. And next, so it's 200 GB. And next, now we need to customize. It's 4 GB, but we decided to give it 6208. I don't know. Yeah, it was 6208. Now click anywhere else, and it's gonna be 6.1 GB, which is okay. So 6207 or 6200, maybe 6 GB 4. Anyway, two processors is good. I don't think it's gonna let me add a network, two extra network cards and two extra disks, but I'll check it out now. Add no extra disks, but two network cards I can add. Two disks I cannot. For that, I need to shut it down again. But two network cards I can. So I'm just gonna go for two extra network cards. I did mention here, I guess. Yeah, add two NICs and add two disks. So two NICs I will be able to add. So I'm just gonna do that. Network adapter, finish. And I think yeah, two extra, right? So the all of them will be on VMnet 15. I think we put the rest of the machines network cards to VMnet 15, or whatever VMnet they're on. You have to put this one on that same VMnet. Okay, add a network adapter, finish, custom VMnet 15. Right? Okay, so two extra NICs are also there. Extra NICs, right? So the one is already there, two extra. Uh, Now two disks I'm not able to add because it's not gonna let me add unless the hypervisor is fully installed. Okay, so I'm just gonna click close here, and now it's gonna start the installation of E6i7. And yeah, we have gone through that before as well. So I'm just gonna finish this, and it will start. Should go faster a bit because we have two other hypervisors down. So when it starts, it's gonna stop at its usual places, and we're gonna give the inputs required. Okay, and at the end, uh, well, vSAN data store is what I need to show you that it's supposed to be fully created successfully. I need to show you that vSAN data store is mapped to the three hypervisors and is showing among the data stores. That's, given the lab resources, is the thing that I'm aiming at. But what I think the actual lab should be is that I should create a virtual machine on top of that and crash it. For some reason, there's some error coming there. Seriously. Anyway, I'll reach there first because once we reach there, I mean, anyone can teach you that, I guess, if you're willing to give that kind of time. And for that one, yeah, it's just simple steps. Where is my F11? Oh man, why is it not lighting up my laptop? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Sir, did we add 800 GB disk to ESXi 2 and 3 as SCSI?
Yes. Oh no, it's I think NVMe for everyone. In new laptops, it is NVMe. If you see that, select the last one.
And two each, like 800 and 800 for number 2 and number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So enter US default. Password is a class password. Small ABC, capital ABC, shift point to 3, without shift point to 3. Small ABC, capital ABC, shift point to 3, without shift point to 3. F11. Okay, we're ready. It's gonna do the final reboot. If I go back to the diagram, two 8 GB disks are remaining. I'm not gonna give static IP to this. If I'm going there, then what's left then? Dynamic IP, but the name just is going to be exactly like the other names. It's just going to be used for today. Okay, it has done its final restarts. It's going to reach soon. The DCUI, direct console user interface. Guys, I'm gonna add you and the whole class, or those who are interested, to the VMware course I teach in other colleges as well. So maybe you will lose access to this after 1 year, maybe, right? So I have my own LMS. Those who wanted the previous number batches, they have access to those VMware course there as well. Okay, here. So it's a 6.1 GB RAM, which is good, but it got an IP automatically from DHCP, and that is 200.51. And I'm going to go inside this DC UI because we need to give the name. So also, I think we gave the same. Your first name is XI02, so your first name is XI03 will be given here. Also, one more thing is that I'm going to go here to Win01. I need to actually open DNS and check what IPs have already been given in case I'm going for the static IP 46i4 as well. So for that, I need to still log in. Okay, so I'm going to go to the DNS. Now, DNS is open already here, but you can go through Server Manager, the suitcase icon, and then go to Tools, and then DNS. So when you click that, so this opens. And it's already on the domain, so I can see what IPs I've already used. 135, 10, 1, 2, 3, 10, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 till 9 are available. I just need one more. So I can go for static IP with IP5. Actually, no. Because I've been using IPs, static IPs in VM kernel ports for vMotion, for uh, FT, fault tolerance. So lots of those IPs, we don't have to actually create an A record for those IPs here, right? So it's just those IPs were separately used. So that's why instead of going and checking the whole setting, which we can also do, in production environment, yes, I would recommend definitely go for static IP, and you would have a separate Excel file maintained for the IPs list, that which devices have what IPs and how many IPs are available. You would actually have to maintain that there. But here, I'll just stick to the dynamic IP, but I'm going to just give the name, and the names are your first name is 6i234. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go inside and change the name only. And for that, I need to press F2 on the DCUI screen after selecting it. So FN F2, and then down arrow, small ABC, capital ABC 2.23 without 2.23. And it's point to be noted is that the lockdown mode is off already. Oh, well, that's the new machine, right? So it has to be off. Configure management network. This is the one, and dynamic IP is okay. I still want to go ahead and change the name, so I'm just going to still enter configure management network, enter. And IPv4 is okay on the right side with gateway given, correct gateways there. IPv6, we're not using that. DNS configuration is what we need to check. And I'm just going to press enter here. And then down arrow, use the following DNS server addresses and host name. I just need to change the name here to ESXI. Oh, your first name, ESXI04. So according to the naming convention that we are already using, I'm just gonna put that, press enter. Suffixes, it's already taking that domain. The DNS has, DHCP has given all this information, which is okay. So the only change here is that I've just changed the name, host name of that hypervisor. The rest is okay. I want to save it, so I need to click enter. Oh, did I do that? No, I want to save it, so I'm gonna click escape, and then I'll just, once I click escape, then I'll press yes, which is this one. Okay, so press Y here. Yes. Now I need to create a record for this guy in DNS. So it could be added, this hypervisor could be added by name in vCenter, right? So I'll go there. So the IP is 200.51 and name is ESXi04. I'm just going to go there. DNS is already open, and right click anywhere here, or right click on top of this, new host A or AA. So the name is your first name or my first name, ESXi04 tab 192.168.200.51. That's what we got from DHCP. In a production environment, if you decide to do that, then at least reserve that IP so nobody else is given this IP or nobody uses that separately, or DHCP doesn't give it at least. Okay, I'm just going to click add host here. It's going to automatically add it to the pointer record in the reverse lookup zone as well. Add host. The record has been added successfully. Press OK. Done. I'm going to go up there to the server name and refresh it just a few million times. All right. So once that is done, so this task is also okay. And I still need to give two 8 GB disks here to this hypervisor. So I'll go back. This hypervisor. I can't give it from here. If I right click, the disks normally do get detected, but I'll just add them from here and restart the hypervisor anyway. So while it is started, ESXi4, I can just, oh, okay, one more thing, guys. If I need to add disks and it has to be NVMe, then while it is started, I cannot add NVMe disks. So I'm just gonna have to shut down just to make sure all the settings are perfect before we even start thinking of vSAN. vSAN is like FT, it just very slightest thing it detects and then starts giving errors. So okay, I'm gonna click the added virtual machine settings. I'm gonna click add. There's the hard disk, NVMe. These are the two extra disks that we're using for vSAN, hence some random number that we chose for only vSAN disks, so 800 GB. I'm going to do the same again. $800. Next, finish. Yeah, 800 and press O and K. All right, so we're kind of ready. We still need to add this machine to the vCenter. So when it comes back up, until then, I need to close the DNS here in Win01, minimize. Okay, so I need to actually log into the vCenter. So I'll click, I'll just refresh the screen here. It still comes back to this. Yeah.
So my system was a little slow. Can you help me a little bit, like 5 minutes, if I share my screen? Like I got stuck.
Yeah, sure.
Just a sec. Can you see, sir?
Yeah. And go to the configure management. Yeah. Just press down arrow. Press enter. So did you change the name already?
ESXi4? No, not the host name, sir.
Okay. So go to the second last DNS. Yeah. Enter. We'll go down, press the second one, press spacebar, and then go at the bottom, down,
This should be
down. No, we're not changing the IP. We're just changing the name, and we're remembering the IP. Hey, why is it giving 34.2? Oh yeah, that's the DNS IP, right? So how come your DNS is? I think your DHCP is not configured correctly. So go down. First you have to change the name here, which is your first name ESXi04.
and this one should be 200
Dot 10.
dot 51.
No, dot DNS is always the first server. So the IP of the first server will be there in the DNS. Is it asking DNS? Yeah, it is on the same DNS. So it has to be
That's it.
200.10. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Enter and then escape. And Y. And
The IP address that you did was 51 192.168.200.51 or something.
yeah, your DHCP is not correct. Um, so it gave this IP. You have to go again inside,
Enter.
press enter, yeah, here, and then go down to the first one, press enter again, and yeah, select this. And it should be, you can just give it 200.40. Oh yeah, spacebar. Oh, again, enter. Yeah, down, spacebar. Then go further down and change the last, press the right arrow key, backspace. Yeah, backspace again. So it has to be 192.168, 200. Oh, up and up. Master G. Master G means respect the teacher. Okay, so 192.168.200. 40 you can give. I'm sure you, in your environment, 40 may not have been used. May.
No, not used yet.
Okay, so rest is 200.10 should be your gateway as well. Hopefully the static IPs are exactly like these. Otherwise, nothing will work. Escape.
Th- That's okay.
Okay. Now you have to go to DNS and create an A record. Hmm. You're way behind, man. So this is a pretty long lab, and if I'm not able to record, nobody will
Okay,
get it.
okay, sir. Okay.
You know,
GN.
it's always a choice to see it and do it when the video is released.
Okay, so this one I'll restart, right?
Um, Restart. No, first you add the two disks, 800 GB each, then restart. So you can add the disk. Yeah, right click and go to settings. So the other thing is you have to create a record of this, right? So that's created in DNS.
Okay.
Oh, then you have to shut down and then add NVMe.
Should I save the settings and then?
The settings are saved already, or aren't they? Yeah. Then just shut down the machine, for add the two disks and start.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. And but okay, so I'm 15. Just wanted to give a complete lab to all. So have to hurry up a little. Whenever there's long installations going on, then I can help. Okay, so I'm logging into the vCenter, administrator at vSphere.local, and then the class password. Last batch, I had to recreate the whole environment. There was something that happened. I hope that is not the case for this one. Ouch. Red arrow errors are already there. That is not good.
It's because your VM is down. Your SXI 2 and 3 are down. That's why it's red.
Ah, exactly. You're right. What is wrong with me? Thank you for noticing that. Actually, obviously, I should have remembered it. So it's they're both shut down. That's why they're. I was gonna start thinking of, okay, where do I start now? And thank you. Thank you. Okay, so here, this is up. So if we go for our um objectives, yeah, pretty much all done. Actually, not all done. I need to add this machine to the vCenter Tor DC or Tor data center first. Then I'm going to add it to the Tor cluster, and it's going to add the agents of HA and the cluster settings. Cluster will actually try to communicate with this machine. So all that. So I'm just going to quickly go to the vCenter, and I'm going to add it in the data center first. We can actually add the new machine or hypervisor to the cluster directly. Better to add it first in the Tor DC, and then go for adding it to the cluster. So Tor DC, it's the same procedure here. So host name or IP address is my first name ESXI0 dot my first name humble dot local. Hopefully that's the one. And then I have to confirm, right? So your first name and one. Yep, that's it. So that is the name. In case I did a mistake, although I think it was correct, but next. And then username, password, root, and small VC, shape 1 to 3, without shape 1 to 3. And enter. Yes, it says self-signed certificate. I say yes. Yeah, thank God. It's communicating. It's okay. It added the name. Next. Evaluation license, 60 days. Next. Lockdown mode, I'm not enabling now, but later I can. Because I need to quickly show you one more thing, and that is how to update, right? And how to put it to maintenance mode and update. So next, so for that, lockdown mode has to be enabled. Okay, next. Yeah, that's it. It's added to the vCenter Tor DC data center. Well, it's being added. Well, the others are still not powered on. So I'm just going to drag this 4 into the Tor cluster. So HA could send its agents and put all of those virtual machines in the there's no virtual machine on top of this particular hypervisor. It's just empty, so it's okay. And once it is added, so configure vSphere HA, and it's installing vSphere HA agent. vSphere has to put its agents inside the any newly added hypervisor, as we know already. So the heartbeats could start coming from the hypervisor to the HA. So HA would know when the hypervisor is up and when it is down. Seems like very peaceful. Oh, good. Okay. I think we're good. It's inside the cluster as well. Yep. And now I'm going to power on the other two hypervisors, and we're kind of ready to roll in the roll in the vSAN. But before that, one more extra thing is I wanted to show, while these two guys are going up, let me show you how to update a hypervisor. So if I go to E6i4, and for vSAN, we already know that the hypervisor has to have, all the hypervisors should be on same update level. Either you update them all or you update none, but it cannot be that one hypervisor is updated and others are not. So vSAN will never work on that infrastructure. So E6i4, when I click here, so you can see on the top right here, and that is updates. So if I click the updates here, E6i4, right? And then there are baselines here. So baselines is a collection of updates. So suppose you have 20 security updates, 3 driver updates, 4 critical updates. So if you collect them all in one baseline, so obviously that's baseline is just a collection of updates, right? Now I've gone to the baseline. First I click the hypervisor, then I click the updates, then I click the baseline. Right? So it says that installed on host, the baselines, installed on host, and show installed. And if I go way down here, attach baseline, attach. So there are 2 baselines with hot security patches and critical host patches there, but they are by default. I'm going to click the attach just to show you the process of the baselines there. So it's a attached baseline or baseline group. Suppose one baseline has critical updates, second baseline has security updates, third baseline has driver updates, but you want to attach them in a group. So baseline group can be there with all types of baselines, with all types of updates inside. So I'm going to go for create and attach baseline because I want to create one baseline. Well, I want to show you how a baseline for patching or updates is created. So I'm just going to click that create and attach baseline. I'm going to be doing this process to all other 2 as well. So name is your first name dash baseline. Next to select ISO. You're kidding me. What did I select just now? Cancel. Okay. You can deploy ISOs with that too, but I am going for baselines here. And so create and attach a baseline. What did I select extra? Okay, yeah. I was supposed to select this. Seriously, that was down here. Okay, again, your first name dash baseline. And I'm going to go down here. I'm not upgrading, but you can have not only patching done with it, but you can have also upgrading done with that too. Like you have a hypervisor 7.0.5, then you can just upgrade through. So not only patching, but the baseline. Through baseline, you can update the whole hypervisor. Anyway, we're here for patching. Extension is just like any other, just like VCSA is a appliance. So extension is a virtual machine. Either an application is inside a virtual machine and that is attached to vCenter, or just an application, maybe on Linux or within the same network, or on Windows, an application that is attached to the vCenter. So that's called extension. Or an application, extra application that is attached to hypervisor or the vCenter. So you want to update that, then it's like that. So we're just trying to patch, and I'm going to click next. And then it shows the updates like that. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, so you can see all kinds of updates here. It says patch vendor, any VMware. So obviously, Cisco and many other companies, whatever products you have attached or added to the VMware environment, they also show up then here, or the updates related to them also show up here. We have just VMware, so it's just VMware here. So you can select any or VMware, it's the same thing. And now if we go down here, so it says severity level. So also you can keep an eye on these here. 3 patches are available and 3 selected, it shows as well. Let me just, why the screen is small. Okay, I'll make the screen bigger. Oh, still small. Okay. Anyway, now this severity level, I'll keep any, otherwise you can go for critical or just the critical, just the important, just the moderate, or just the low. I'll go for any here as well. Here it says that product, which product you have. So is it 7.0 only, 7.0 asterisk here? So any version after that, or actually 7.01. So if I select 0.01, you can see that the updates gone from 3 to 1. But if I go for 7.0, it's still 1. 7 star asterisk is still 1. Seriously, when I go for any, then it says 3. So that's weird. And categories, is it a security update? Is it a bug fix? Is it a enhancement, or is it other? So I'm just saying whatever updates you have, I will just install it. So 3 matched, it shows, and I'm okay. You could have given a date as well. If release date of that patch, suppose there were hundreds of patches here, but right now there are 3 only available. So I'm just gonna click next. So the procedure is same for 3 or maybe 3,000 different patches. It's the same thing. Procedure is same. Next. It says here, add patches manually as well. If you want to add patches manually, then you can add. We don't have any patches to add to be added manually. And then summary, it says here, this is it. So you're creating a baseline which includes 3 patches. And I say yes, finish. So there's a baseline which is just a group of patches is created here and also attached to this hypervisor. Now you can see that my other 2 hypervisors are also back up and detected by Tor cluster. So now if this is ready, I need to install those patches and it may restart, right? So if I select this patch and then there's a detach, no, I don't want to detach, I just attached it. Stage just means that you want to download the patches before time. And this, when you click the remediate is that start button. Go ahead and install. Remediate means install, right? So stage just means that do the heavy loading before. Suppose you your boss told that, hey, at 7 p.m. in the evening, please patch all the hypervisors, and but you stage the updates already maybe at 4 or 1 p.m. You staging means that updates have to be first downloaded and then they have to be installed. So at 1 p.m. you stage them and they keep on downloading all day. At 7 p.m. when time comes, they're actually already downloaded, and you click the remediate button, they just install. Suppose you did not stage them. So at 7 p.m. when you start remediating or installing, so first they will download and then they will install. So that will take a lot of time for you, right? But obviously, if you're staging at 1 p.m., you're taking up the bandwidth during the peak times or office times, right? So if anyone says, hey, who's using that? Why is it slow? And if they discover that you were behind this, so obviously you need to get approval for staging updates as well. If it's not a big bother on the bandwidth, then go ahead and do that. Okay, anyway, then remediate is actually go ahead and install that. It does give more options as well. But remember one thing about update, that you have to put the host in maintenance mode and then you do that, right? So I'm going to right click here and there's a maintenance mode and enter maintenance mode. When you put a host in a maintenance mode, you cannot run virtual machines on top of that. Simple, right? There's a maintenance going on. How can you run a virtual machine on top of that? You want to put enter maintenance mode and it says, hey, you want to move the powered off and suspended virtual machines? No, I don't want to move them. If they are already powered off, just leave them on this host and okay. And press okay. So it's going to enter maintenance mode. And you can see that the icon is different now. Maintenance mode icon, right? So before vSAN implementation, I'm updating these machines just to show how to update. We don't actually need that update, but it's a small topic that I'm adding here. So, well, it's on maintenance mode, so I should be ready to install the updates that I selected. So I'm going to select the remediate button for that. Once I click the remediate, then it says, well, there are options here. It says, yeah, you're ready. It's this hypervisor. And I say, yeah, you're right. And here, install 3 updates. Yeah, okay. And I select that and go further down. Do I have any other options? So it says this component provides the high availability services for virtual machines on ESXi host. Okay. And then there are these Kubernetes options here. We don't have that. And scheduling options will remediate immediately. Yes, I want it remediated immediately. I don't want to schedule it at some other time. Remediation settings. If I expand that, so VM power state, do not change VM power state. Well, if there's a virtual machine on top of that, it should be moved away already before the maintenance mode. So obviously, if the power state is off, means the machine is off, keep it off, don't change the power state. Re-entering maintenance mode, suppose it is trying to enter maintenance mode and it's not successful, so try 3 times every 5 minutes. And Pixie boot hosts, if the hosts have been deployed over the network, what do you want to do? So default is okay. VM migration, do not migrate powered off and suspended VMs. We already unchecked that. Disconnect removable media devices, no. So suppose you have ISO map to the virtual machine on top of this host, so don't change their settings. Quick boot, yeah, if you want the hypervisor. So quick boot significantly reduces the time taken for a host to reboot. Okay, but it's supported on select platform. So you want this, suppose there's an update that requires a restart for this whole hypervisor, so make it quick. That's what you're saying here. Check host health after installation. Yeah, it's okay. After the whatever updates you've installed, check the health of the host. Ignore warnings and unsupported hardware. That's what I'm going to select. Suppose there are some warnings, please don't stop my updates, right? Just keep going. Maybe you know that there is a incompatible hardware connected to this hypervisor, and you want that error to be ignored by this maintenance process, right? So in that case, it's okay. I want the updates to be done and I know what kind of error it can face. But yes, if there's an unknown error, it's good to know that, and you should have enough time to then recover from that error as well, to shoot that error. Okay, but anyway, I'm saying that no surprises, just finish the updates, and I'll check the errors later. So this is one option that I selected out of the whole thing, and I'm gonna click remediate. So what I'm expecting is that it will start installing updates, and then it's gonna say, yeah, I'm done, and then I have to take this machine out of maintenance mode. So I'm gonna click the exit maintenance mode once the updates are done. So I'm just going to remediate, which means install updates. If all goes well, then there should be no error here. Otherwise, oh wow, that was too well. Well, there was just some small already available updates that we installed, but that's the way to update, do the updates. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other guys. It's this guy is on maintenance mode. Well, I can just go to maintenance mode and now exit maintenance mode because I just saw that remediation completed successfully. And it says compliant here. Compliant against whatever's in the baseline. I'm going to go for exit maintenance. So now it's going to go back to being the normal host where virtual machines could be hosted. So now that update level has to be matched by these two guys as well. So I'm just going to go faster now. Go to the A6i3. It's already on updates. Go to the baseline. I'm going to go down here, attach, create an attached baseline. That's exactly what we did before. Your first name, dash baseline. This baseline is for this particular hypervisor. The last baseline was for the last particular hypervisor. So baselines are on hypervisor level. So patch, next. Wow, I said that and it says this baseline. Seriously, what is wrong with me? I'm actually gone back to the past where 6.4 has had this issue that it's hypervisor level, but it's actually not. How? Well, that error was a scary one, but whatever baseline was here, right? Which baseline was there? This baseline. So this baseline should be here as well. But it says I detect when I create that same name baseline, it says you can't create that same named baseline. So I thought that, oh, then the baseline is already here. Then this means I don't have to create a new baseline, and that same baseline I can apply on this hypervisor as well. But it's not here, although it detects the same name. So you can't put the same name that has been used for a baseline on the other hypervisor on this. But yes, it still doesn't show me that same baseline. Oh, hey, let me check. Attach existing. Is there somewhere? No. Attach get from another hypervisor baseline. Nope, nothing. So yeah, I have to. Hey, if I go attach, does it show me the other base? Oh, it does. There you go. Okay. So my concept coming from 6.4, sorry, 6.7 and 6.5 and 6.0, right? So if I go for attach baseline, because if it has given this error, this means it can access that, right? So when I was saying that it's hypervisor level only and each hypervisor has its own baseline, so that is not correct. It was there for previous systems, previous versions, but here one hypervisor can actually access the baseline created on the other hypervisor, so that's good and that's logical. So attach baseline, if we go, yes, the baseline that I created here on the fourth hypervisor, it can be attached to the third hypervisor as well, which is, I'm about to cry now. This is so good. Okay. Once that is added here, I'm just going to implement it. Before implementing, what do? I need to put this dude into maintenance mode. And no, don't move any of the suspended machines. There are one powered on machine. Did I power on it? Oh, VCLS. Maybe it could be. It's already going to the maintenance mode, but it says that you got some virtual machines up there, and I think they are. I don't think any of the machines were powered on. Anyway, it did what it had to do. I think those were the VCLS machines or the vCenter cluster services machines, right? So anyway, it's on maintenance mode. I can actually put the updates by clicking the remediate button. I still need to go down to that setting, which I changed before, because it's the same baseline. So all the updates are same, other than that, this option of ignore warnings. I don't want any surprises. I don't want this to fail, the updates. So I'll just go for ignore warnings and errors. So last one went fast. This one is thinking about it to update or not to update. That is the question. Oh, seriously, don't give me an error. If this is not on the same update level as A6i4, then I have to uninstall from A6i4 as well, just to make vSAN work. Wow. Well, did I miss something? I don't think so. Serious. Oh, please work. Oh, thank God. Sometimes the dashboard does not show if it was showing a progress in the background. So I guess that was the case. So it's also done. I'm just going to take it out from maintenance mode. And now you know the drill. So same exact thing here. Thank God I checked the attach. It's the already create baseline and then remediate. Suppose you have 200 hypervisors. So yeah, I mean, obviously there has to be a central way as well to do that. Or third-party software that affords. Okay, I forgot to put it on maintenance mode. So it still did it, but it's not recommended at all. And some of the updates actually do not. Some updates are so critical, they actually give an error that you did not put your system on maintenance mode. So then they make us do that. But it's always recommended to put it on maintenance mode. Suppose there were virtual machines running on top of that, and this update installed something that would have been in conflict if the files, some of the temporary files it saw are available because the virtual machine was powered on and virtual machine got corrupted as a result. It could be resulting in any other thing, right? If the machine was not put to maintenance mode and something was running on it, and the baseline could corrupt it as well. So I did it. It actually succeeded as well, but that's not recommended at all, the way to do it. Okay. Anyway, so all three hypervisors are on the same update level as well. So that's good news. And we get to know how to update as well. And what's the baseline? If I go back to these, okay, we got pretty much. So the fourth one added, and I did not put here, but they should be on the same update level. So that is also achieved. I'll just put it here so that one drawing would actually show majority of the main configurations. So put the three hosts on same update level. Now, suppose you didn't plan to update that, or suppose you updated, put all the done all the patching last week. So obviously for vSAN, you don't really have to do updates right before configuring vSAN. You don't have to do that. I didn't do that before, so that's why I'm doing that. Otherwise, normally companies have their own schedule of patching, and on that, those schedules only do patching. You don't really have to do it only before vSAN, right? Okay, so but vSAN will not work if they are on different updates levels. They have to be on exactly the same update level. And obviously, that's the best practice. In any company you go, whenever you're doing patching, obviously you update pretty much all the same type of applications and all the same type of operating systems together. You don't really, unless they are in millions, and then you know, patch them phase wise. Okay, anyway, so that is done. Update level, I'm going to go down to the added to vSAN done, 6 GB done, 3 SXI. Oh, yeah, that's not done. That's the most crucial part. Obviously, we need to prepare them for the vSAN configuration. So VM kernel port has to be added, and 3 separate static IPs for VM kernel port we're going to have to come up with. So, okay, now whichever hypervisors are taking part in the vSAN has to have that VM kernel port created inside. So if I go to E6i2 here and then go to configure and then go to virtual or VM kernel adapters. So they provide networking to all the advanced features, right? So that's the vSAN feature now. And so for vMotion, we actually use 5 and 6. For fault tolerance, we use 7 and 8. And for vSAN, so 9, 10, 11 we cannot use because 10 is already being used as a gateway. So 11, 12, 13 we can use. So VM kernel adapter, so 11, 12, 13 for VM kernel port we're going to use as the static IPs. You can use dynamic as well. I'm just going for best practice here for static. Okay, so I'm going to go for add networking for E6i2 first. And now we're configuring this dude, vSAN. So VM kernel network adapter, next. And then we're going for best practices. We're going to configure this vSAN feature on a totally new switch with its own 2 dedicated network adapters. So because we can do that, otherwise in production environments, it's up to you. You have enough network cards, do it. Otherwise, add it to an existing switch. So assigned adapters, I'll go for the next 2 available on E6i2. Now, suppose in E6i3, 8, 9 are available and 6, 7 are not available. E6i2, 6, 7 are available, and E6i3, 8, 9 are available. E6i4, 1, 2 are available. So that's okay. They don't exactly have to be the same number. Okay, next. Yeah, so now it's vSAN. And here we're just going to go for vSAN, that's it. And vSAN, VLAN, IP, nope, everything is okay. So vSAN we select here, next, and we go for the IP address to be 11, 12, 13. So 11 is for this, subnet mask is the same, gateway, DNS is the same, and gateway is the same. Next, finish. So we know the drill now. I'm gonna go for E6i3 with a static IP 12, add networking, network adapter, next, new standard switch, next, whatever, next 2 free network adapters, next, vSAN, and vSAN. Next. Well, okay, next. And same thing for ESXi4. Yep. So it does not have vMotion. ESXi4 does not have vMotion and fault tolerance, but vSAN is not dependent on the hypervisor to have those features and then it will work. So it's totally independent of those features. So if this hypervisor does not have vMotion and fault tolerance, it's okay. vSAN will still work. Obviously, this hypervisor, if it's a permanent part of the vCenter, then obviously you have to configure all those features in that. We're just using it for the vSAN. And networking, VM kernel network adapter, next. New standard switch, right? Next, and it's gonna have these two because we added extra two network interface cards, just two. Practice vendor recommended settings. Click next. vSAN and vSAN selected here as well. Next. So we're giving the IP 13 here, 2.5, subnet mask, same gateway, same DNS. Next, finito. Okay, so we're kind of there now. Kind of. Before we start with the vSAN thing, and then obviously after that, I'll be explaining about the exams as well. Yeah, let's take our break and then come back and finish the vSAN, try to see if the vSAN that's got created, and then we're going to talk about the certifications as well. Okay, so let's take our break quietly and come back. All right, so we have the required disks and we have done the VM kernel port as well. So we are kind of ready for this vSAN implementation. Again, the vSAN configuration is used for making available the local disks, unused local disks, so minimum 3 hypervisors. And the prerequisites, we have met all the prerequisites of the vSAN environment. And we're supposed to now enable the vSAN configurations. So if I go up to the Tor cluster here and then configure, and I'll make this screen full screen, so it should look big. And if I go further down here, then there's the vSAN, so Tor cluster configure, and then way down here is vSAN. I'm going to go to services of vSAN, and let's check if it doesn't give any errors, any type of errors, and it gets powered on without any issues. Well, it's going to go through the wizard, so I'm just going to click the configure here. So it says that what are you creating here? Is it a single site cluster? Each host is considered to reside in its own fault domain. So what is a fault domain? And yeah, let's discuss that. So fault domain is related to this diagram, and what it really means is, suppose you have a full this is a physical server. Suppose it's HP physical server, and these are also HP physical. This is a rack, server rack, right? So you put physical server inside, physical inside, right? And here also inside. Now, when those servers are inside, they're supposed to be actually powered on 24/7, 365 throughout the year. They are just supposed to stay on, right? And what happens is that they need a power supply. So suppose there's a UPS. This is a UPS here. UPS is uninterrupted power supply, and they are also having a switch. So this is just a switch that is providing this whole rack the networking, and this UPS or uninterrupted power supply is providing it the power supply to this rack and all the servers inside this rack, right? Now, what happens is that there could be, that single point of failure or SPOF. So that is called SPOF, right? So this is fault domain, and single point of failure is called SPOF or SPOF. And what happens in that is that is there any one point of failure, and because of that, the whole rack could go down and all the physical servers inside could go down and all the virtual machines on top of those physical servers would go down. So fault domain is created if there is actually a single point of failure. So suppose this UPS power supply, this is only one coming to this rack. If this power supply goes down, this device goes down, the power will be cut. There is no redundant power supply to this rack. Or similarly, if there's just one switch, and if that switch goes down, there's no networking available to those virtual machines. So obviously they're cut off from the network, they're cut off from everyone. So this could prove to be a single point of failure, SPOF, single point of failure, right? So if there is a single point of failure, and suppose there are multiple racks that have single point of failure available, so what happens is when you create a virtual machine here, so it creates a one fault domain here, and there's another fault domain here. So what happens is that one virtual machine that you created here is active virtual machine, and its passive copy or standby copy is created on the other fault domain. So if this rack has a single point of failure and it actually crashes, then John is requesting remote control tech. So yeah, so here, so it's if anything happens to that rack, because it has two single point of failure or two SPOFs here. One is power supply is just one, and if this one goes down, the whole rack goes down, and there's just one switch. If this switch goes down, the whole rack is disconnected from the network. So in that case, this virtual machine's copy gets created in another fault domain as well. And if this fault domain is not available for some reason, so the clients are connected to its passive machine, which becomes active. So this virtual machine active, its passive is here. This active machine is passive here, and this active here. So it's like fault tolerance, FT exactly. But this vSAN has its built-in FT feature where it offers you that how do you want to have it. Do you want to create this fault domain infrastructure where where your virtual machine's copy could be created in another rack, which is not related to your UPS, which is not also connected to your switch. It is connected to its own UPS and our own switch. Okay. Again, the message comes. I think someone's pushing a button on your side, John. So, okay, decline. Okay, so here, Now we have, so this is fault domain. So the concept of that is that the other rack should be connected to its own UPS and its own switch. If both racks are connected to the same power supply and both racks are connected to the same switch, so they are just one fault domain, right? So if they have their own separate switch and UPS and switch, and it has its own separate UPS and switch. So if they are separate, right? So then it's, different fault domains, and then at least when the virtual machine is created here, automatically its copy is created on the other one. So that's the concept behind the fault domain. So each host is considered to reside in its own fault domain. So if you have two hosts here, or three hosts here, or four hosts here, so four hosts mean four fault domains, three hosts mean three fault domains. If you create virtual machine in one hypervisor or host, no problem, John. It's okay. If you provide a virtual machine, if you create virtual machine on one host, like if I go to this. So this is E6i2 is one fault domain, E6i3 is another fault domain, E6i4 is a fourth, another separate fault domain. And if you create a virtual machine here, then its copy will be automatically created here on this by the vSAN on the vSAN data store. So this means that if this host goes down, then the virtual machine's copy should also already be there. So that single site cluster, each host is considered to reside in its own fault domain, single site cluster with custom fault domains. And that's where single site cluster with custom defined fault domains without a witness host. So witness host just means that if you are having, so you have to define your fault domain. You can customize it. You can define that, okay, this is these two hosts. Maybe you know that these two physical servers are actually connected to the same source of networking, or one switch, or same source of power. And if that power goes down, these two hosts will go down. So you define that, okay, these two are one fault domain, and this is actually connected to a separate switch and separate power source. So this is a separate fault domain. So you can actually customize that and manually define the fault domains as well. And without witness, that it says witness server is always that machine that keeps an eye on both. Suppose this is the witness and this is the two fault domain hosts here, and a active virtual machine is created here, and its automatic passive virtual machine is created there. The witness keeps an eye on both. That if any one goes down, suppose this one goes down, so witness tells the other one, hey, this host goes down where the active was. So you were the passive, now you are the new active virtual machine here, because witness host witnessed that one of the hosts crashed. So without a witness, but I'm just telling you the functionality of the witness, and it just says that you want to create a host with the, witness host or not, right? So that's I'm just telling that what is the functionality of a witness host. And then there is two node vSAN cluster here, two hosts at one site and a witness host at another site. So site is a branch. So suppose two hosts are in Toronto branch and one host is in Calgary is too far. So Toronto branch, another host is in Mississauga branch, or any nearby city, Brampton branch or something like that, Hamilton branch. Witness host contains only metadata and does not participate in storage operations. The witness host cannot be used to run VM. So are you running this? So it's saying that, or it's asking that, and for that, obviously, I will be creating another one. So suppose you have one Toronto branch here and one Hamilton branch here. So they are not that far from each other, right? So Toronto branch has two hosts here, and Hamilton branch has one witness host here, while there are two hosts or hypervisors here. And as we mentioned already, that the functionality of the witness host is to keep an eye on the two hosts. Anyone is available, or any one of the two is down, that other one witness says, hey, you're it now, you're the active one. So, but you can put the witness in another branch. Suppose the whole branch goes down, at least the witness host will be informing that in the log files that I cannot actually access both the hosts. So the whole site is down. But if the witness was in the site and the site is down, obviously you would have you would not know from the viewer side monitor logs at least that the whole site is down because witness was also in the site. So you can put the witness outside just to see the log files that, oh, at what exact time the site level or the whole branch level outage occurred. It would be in the log files of the witness. And then there's a stretch cluster here. So two active data sites and a witness host at a third site. Witness host contains only metadata and does not participate in the storage operations. The witness host cannot be used. Okay, same thing, but well, not exactly same. Now, for this stretched cluster, you actually have one host here, or two hosts here, or 10 hosts there and 10 hosts here. So an equal number. And then you have here, so suppose this is Mississauga branch, and you have still Hamilton witness host in the Hamilton, but now it's keeping an eye on this site and this site as well. And if the whole site level outage occurs and the whole site is gone, then it just wakes up this one. Hey, Ms. Saga, your hosts are the active ones now, and it then informs that. So stretch cluster is among 3 branches then, right? So here, turn off vSphere HA to turn on off vSAN. So if you want to turn on vSAN, it says that high availability has to be turned off temporarily, and then you can enable vSAN. So we still didn't turn off the HA feature, and we are going ahead. So if we did not turn off HA, then it's supposed to give us error now, right? So we'll just, since we're here, so we're gonna look at the error. Okay, there you go. Turn off vSphere HA to turn on or off vSAN. So we want to turn on vSAN. In order to do that, well, that's just by design. It's a requirement that HA needs to be turned off first. So I'm just gonna cancel out from here, and in door cluster and configure, I'm going to go up there to the HA, this one, and I'm going to turn it off, right? So that's just a requirement of vSAN, that turn off HA. So I'm going to turn off HA, both of these, right? Okay. So once they are turned off, so are there any operations going on here? No. Obviously now, if any one host goes down, then HA cannot actually let the virtual machine restart on the other host. It's not going to kick in because we turned it off. But this is temporary because we just want to enable vSAN. After vSAN is fully enabled, then we can turn on HA again. So I'm going to go down to services here. Configure. So here, single site cluster, that's the default one. It's okay. I'm gonna just keep it selected and go for next. Then it says that space efficiency for the storage here, and you want to enable compression because it's a data store, right? So it's gonna store a lot of data. So virtual machine files, virtual machine well, all the files, and if you want to put ISO there as well, and if you put anything else. So it has you want to enable compression or you want to enable deduplication. So what is deduplication? So if there are multiple exactly same type of files, it just deletes. Suppose there are three in three folder structure, three places in subfolder, and then subfolder, and then subfolder. There's the same MP4 file. So it detects and checks the whole parameters of the file, three files, and then it concludes that okay, these are exactly the same files. So it deletes the two files and and puts a shortcuts in place of the two files, and that shortcut is connected to that one original file there, right? So that's how deduplication works. That it just deletes duplicated files. So then obviously it saves a lot of space for you. Okay, so data at rest encryption. So you want to enable encryption for data that is sitting, resting on top of your vSAN data store. So it's up to you. And data in transit. So if the data is moving, there's copy paste going on, file movement going on. You want to encrypt that data as well for security. Large scale cluster support. Suppose you have so by default, vSAN cluster can only grow up to 32 nodes. So we have put 3 nodes here that it can go up to. Within one vSAN cluster, it can go up to 32 nodes. But by setting this option, vSAN cluster is allowed to grow up to large scale at maximum to 64 nodes. Please be noted, if this option is changed before cluster configuration, it can be applied at host side immediately. But if it is changed on a later, all hosts are required to reboot to apply this change. Okay, anyway, so it just says that if you have huge amount of hosts connected to the vSAN, yes, that is possible, but then you have to restart at certain configuration state, all the hosts. So anyway, this is just for the, be careful about the restart, but you want to enable any of those security features or scalability features, then you can do that. We will, I'm not doing that, so I'm just going to click next here. Okay, that's where the action starts, and claim disks as cache or capacity to add them to the vSAN data store. Claiming disks for vSAN Direct will create new data store for each selected disk. So there's a vSAN Direct here as well that could be created on a separate disk, or just use one vSAN data store on all disks. So we're going for that, obviously, where we're using we're creating one big vSAN data store on top of the unused local disks, right? So I'm going to go for this group by, and I'm going to change that to host wise. So when we go for host wise, it shows that which hosts are available. If I just collapse those, so you can see that ESXi2, ESXi3, ESXi4 are showing here. And then they all say do not claim, do not claim. So do not claim what? So we are going to claim the disks now, right? So I'm going to expand, and 2 disks it is detecting, which are 800 GB each. Yes, exactly. So whichever disks are unused, it detects them automatically. Now, what we need to do is we need to tell it here that, or here, first of all, that are they flash disks or, they are HDD. So, what happens? We need to mark one of the disk as flash or SSD disk, like a solid state drive, or the drive that has faster reads and writes, and then the one disk as mark as HDD. Even though suppose the disk below is SSD solid state drive, it still would want to mark it. We would still want to mark it HDD because it will require that hey, one disk has to be SSD, one disk has to be HDD. But I've checked the other way as well, that if you keep it flash both, it still works, which is good. But I'm going to mark it as HDD just to avoid any future errors. In fact, we're going to test that too. Suppose I keep it flash. For now, what has been working before, I'm going to go for that. So one is flash, one is HDD. Flash means it's going to give speed, and whatever data is frequently used will be sent to that side of the data store which has the disk marked as flash. So suppose I go for suppose this disk has been marked as flash, this disk has been marked as HDD, and this is flash, and this is HDD, and this is flash and HDD, right? So suppose we mark it that way where we are right now and marking it, right? So what happens is that the frequently used data, suppose of that machine or of that machine, if there are so many users that are connecting to that machine and they're frequently using certain set of files, so those files are actually put on the data store, vSAN data stores, that side where underlying disk is marked as flash, which means that it can offer huge reads and writes, right? So, and if there's a data on the data store that is actually not frequently being used, and it's used put for backup, and sometimes within a year, sometimes in a month, it is used. So then that data is placed on that vSAN data store side where underlying disk is HDD or slow disk. So it starts putting that data on that disk, which is slow. Wherever frequently used data is, it's put on that data store side where underlying disk is flash disk, or where the data could be processed fast, read and written fast, right? So that's what we're doing. Flash disk is this, and now flash disk is cached here, and cache means locally saving the file, and then locally saving the file so it could be retrieved faster. So it could be retrieved faster. And then there is a capacity tier. So capacity tier is, capacity just means that, oh, we're going to use your disk for capacity or for saving data, or saving that data that is infrequently being used. So cache tier, where data is saved or stored for fast reading, and capacity tier is where the data is just saved for long-term backup, maybe, or infrequently accessed data is put there. So I'm just going to put that as, I'm going to keep it as flash, and the other one as marked as HDD, and then flash is actually capacity, the cache tier, and this is capacity tier. There's vSAN. Now this vSAN Direct actually, if we go, so it just makes that whole disk as one data store. So you want to have 9 vSAN data stores, you can do that too. And still minimum 3 hypervisors, 1 hypervisor goes down, it's still going to be redundant, but it just makes that many partitions as many disks are there, right? But here, I'm just going to go for cache tier and capacity tier here as well. And then there is flash and marked as HDD. And then cache tier is flash because it is fast, and capacity tier is HDD. So you can see that there's no error here. So it accepts this whole configuration here. I'm just going to test it now. I'm going to put it back to marked as HDD. But if I go for flash, oops, no, it pops up. Then obviously I need to go for cache tier. It does not actually offer 2 cache tiers here. There's only 1 cache tier. Once I give the cache tier to the flash, suppose I make the other one flash, there's no cache tier available. It's only capacity tier. So you would not want to use faster disk for just saving data. You would want to use faster disk for actually caching the data and making it fast available. Okay, next. So it says that it detected 2.34 terabyte of data store capacity, and data store cache is also 2.34 terabyte. It's just divided in half, cache tier and capacity tier, right? And So I'm just going to click finish here. And what we're expecting is the creation of a vSAN data store, which is the main purpose, how to actually create a data store. Now it's going to try to configure it. There will be some long processing going on here, not very long. And that processing would be formatting the disks. Yeah, it's still doing some processing in the recent tasks it's showing. It's just checking the whole environment and trying to configure and creating one big data store, vSAN data store on top of the three hypervisors, two unused local disks each. Oops. Huh. So I see an error and also LSOM file system for vSAN disk UL PCB log. Unable to create LSOM file system. Oh, no, the error is still there. I thought it was gone, or maybe it's still processing and let it wait. Let us wait for the whole processing. Oh, okay. Also, what time it was reported and for what feature it was reported. Okay, it's 8:48. Reconfigure vSAN cluster. 8:40. While the errors, okay, I'll just go up. It's a local administrator reporting at 8:25. So that's something else. Create this group on vSAN. No, it's related to vSAN.
Isn't it the drivers for your HDD or flash? Maybe flash. Because
Yeah.
you mixed the both, and I think your computer is not compatible with flash driver. I think.
I've done that before as well, and it accepted that I never give this particular error with that same setting, while definitely my underlying disk is only flash. But no, did you Google it or something, or
Oh no! But it's on 2
okay,
and
it
3.
could
It's
be
the
that. Yeah, it
same.
could.
It's the same.
The journal system error record unable to create LSOM file for vSAN. I actually want to just put it in Google. And it's reporting on 3 and 2, but not on 4. And this is also 3 and 2. While I've configured it on 4 as well, but it's not reporting there that same thing. So it's something else then. 4 is okay for the same process. A system, even if the errors are coming, if the whole processing in the background is done, oh, it's still happening. So before that, we can't touch anything. When whole processing is done, normally what happens is that the vSAN is still created. vSAN data store, sorry, that is still created. While I've opened the Google browser on the other side, other monitor, and I'm exactly typing this error, general system error occurred, unable to create. Obviously, I'm not gonna put that full ID there, but file system for vSAN disk, and I'm putting it in Google, so somebody must have seen that error and may have some information. Well, that's the quickest way. And then some random ID I'm putting there. Please see VM kernel log for more details. VM kernel details. In fact, I'll remove the ID. It's LSOM. Yeah. Okay. So there is one page here, and I'll put that page in front now from VMware knowledge base. Because my physical ESI scene has some hardware issue, no install 3, now install 3, SSI workstation, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the possible reason should be NTP because I find these E6i VMs fast, more 8 hours than vCenter's time out. I clear all vSAN setting and modify NTP setting to local time, then reconfigure vSAN procedure, then it worked well. Are you kidding me? Is it NTP? Okay, so it says NTP, network time protocol. That could be one reason. It's still on 95% right now, vSAN, while I did correct the time. I'll keep it on this one as well, so when it finishes, we should know. So the time of the hypervisors, actually I can see that in the configuration. So configure, or in summary, maybe the time could be there. If it's wrong time, but E6i 4 is not having that issue. E6i 2 and 3 only are having these issues. E6i 2 and 3 have much more different configurations than E6i 4. It has like FT and vMotion, and it's a bit configured differently, but still I didn't see that error in previous class. I did see some errors, but they were different errors, not these. So yeah, time protocol, time configuration. It's 25.8, yeah, correct time. 6i2, and same correct time for 6i3, 25.8, 850. And yeah, same correct time for 6i4 as well. So we are kind of good. Time source is just, I didn't give any particular time source, so, and it's manual. but the time is correct for everyone. Just waiting for this dude to have finish. I'll refresh that. Okay, so it's about the vSAN disk that we provided to side 3 and 2. So if I go down, yes, still the error is on 3 and 2. Anyway, I'll wait for this to finish because vSAN configuration does take time. And this would be in vSAN logs as well. Oh, come on. This is stuck to. Okay, I'll check those VM kernel log for more details. Tool cluster. And well, if I just go to the, oh, again, John wants to take over my machine. Da-da-da. Okay, so here, I'm gonna go to storage and just check if the vSAN data store has started showing or not. Oh, it is showing. Yay. As I was saying that it's not that. How many hosts it is connected to? It's connected to all 3 hosts. Yay! Second thing. But the background tasks are still going on, and it's not that easy feature like FT and vMotion that it's gonna just configure. Some features do require proper underlying hardware and not the lab software environments. Oh, okay, John. System is hanging and it's acting up. Oh, okay. Um, hmm. Well, now there's slight movement, but in the background, it's still trying to finish and reconfigure the whole thing. But the vSAN data store and is connected, and it's comprised of the 3 disks of 2 empty disks of 3 hypervisors, right? So so far it's good, but when this reaches the end, then we can just see some status. But what I wanted to show was even in this training environment, we were able to do that at least till here. And I wish we had 3 physical servers, those servers which are recommended by VMware. VMware maintains a HCL, hardware compatibility list. And according to that HCL, we are supposed to have a hardware on top of that hardware. You can create a vSAN data store that detects properly physical disks there. And some of the errors that come here actually won't or should not be coming there. Now it does say 46A4 as well, and the error is a bit different. These virtual environment disks may not be acceptable to that level, but that's how it would look like if we had an original hardware environment with proper physical servers with recommended VMware hardware and disks. So it's actually now giving error on all disks in the background. And this was general error. Okay, so yeah, this environment comes up to this level where vSAN data store is created and it starts showing up among the data stores. But when I suppose, so after that, you just start using it as a data store. If it was an actual environment, physical, servers, then so if I go for Tor cluster, and then go down to the vSANs or services, then disk management, then fault domains and data store sharing, these type of features appear then. So it at least takes us to this level where we can see that how it's going to look like when it is fully configured. But it's not exactly fully configured. You have not finished or skipped the cluster quick start. vSAN health checks are suppressed. So you can go through the quick list when in an original environment. Suppose you do get an original environment with underlying physical server. Okay, so Xavier also has another, um, you know, link Xavier has shared. So I've opened that link here. Or I'll open that again. Yeah. So what I was checking for that error, it was NTP, but this obviously Tech Crumble site, thank you Xavier for sharing that, has it says that
It's
for
at the end, on the bottom,
okay,
really
yeah,
bottom.
again it's the hardware. So oh yeah, I just want
It's really at the end. He said he checked NTP time between the vCenter and the SXI, but it's not. He increased the RAM of ASXE instead, and the error gone.
oh okay, yes. So yes, definitely it makes sense. LSOM, yeah, you're right. So that's the thing, that if we have a proper hardware, then we might not get this error. But what I wanted to show you, show everyone, thank you, Xavier, for sharing that. And so this is where we reach. And definitely we don't want to chat for shy people here. So I'm just going to close that and minimize this. But obviously, in a virtual environment where vSAN is trying to reach the actual hardware, it's not going to find it, so it's not going to let you really configure everything, right? But even in a production environment, it will appear exactly like this. Among the data stores that you've created, the vSAN data store will appear like this. It's going to actually be named like this, and it will show you how many hosts it is connected to. So this one, I try to, whatever further I could go, I try. But before also, I try to go for these errors and try to, it says even here HCL, hardware compatibility list, DB up to date is not, and all required hosts are in maintenance mode. Seriously, they're not in maintenance mode, but they were. Maybe it's just still checking, and that's not all. SCSI controller is VMware certified. It's a yellow warning. So obviously these all have to be properly validated and green. And our limitation comes here where there is a virtual environment here, not the physical environment. What I still push and go ahead and try to do it, if I start going to create a virtual machine and go for test one, next, store cluster, next. So now the vSAN data store shows here, right? So I could start creating virtual machines here. Data store does not match current VM policy. So I'll go for vSAN default storage policy here. Uh, and now, obviously, this vSAN data store actually says, hey, I don't have any capacity here. Hey, actually, we gave it a lot of capacity, 2.34 terabyte is available, but it's not fully configured. So that's why that till here we can reach where we can try to create a virtual machine, but it's if it's not fully configured, you won't be able to actually use it unless you have that proper hardware, underlying hardware is there, underlying HCL recommended hardware compatibility list or VMware recommended disks are there with proper RAID, right? So yeah, this is as far as we go with the vSAN data store, but at least all the requirements, prerequisites, you will exactly follow the same process if you have the exact, if you have a correct hardware, and this exact process will actually take you to a successful creation of a vSAN data store. So yeah, so that's overall it. And next week is the final quiz. So it's gonna come all from. Oh, guys, first of all, two screenshots here. So one is this screenshot where vSAN data store creation works, we can say. So at least we were able to create this successfully. So vSAN data store creation works is the label. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this and I'll put it to screenshot number 1. vSAN data store creation works is the label you can give. And screenshot of the screenshot. And I'll go for another one, and that is I'm going to go to E6i2, then go to updates, and yeah, so this is update baselines work. So update baselines work. There's a second screenshot here. Screenshot to update baseline works. Screenshot to update baseline. Okay, line works. That's the screenshot to update baseline works. All right, so now some information about the exam. Okay, so yeah, you can upload that there. So yeah, first thing is that for the next week quiz, it's gonna be same like the midterm, and so everything that was covered after the midterm will be there, and same 2 hours, 6:30 to 8:30, and yeah, two falls, open book. Okay, I'll put the diagram of this thing that needs to be here. All right. So the exam information. Now at the start of the class, maybe I've given that information as well for do you have access to the D2L site? So hopefully you got the access by this time, and normally they give vouchers, right? For and that voucher is valid for 1 year. So yeah, normally there is one exam, and it's a 70% discount voucher for the VCP exam for VCP7. And if I go ahead with this link, so exam voucher is supposed to be inside your D2L, a subscription. So it's supposed, let me just show you that. So at the start of the class, we were discussing about this D2L and all, but did anyone got access to this from the support? So what you're supposed to have is access to this Brightspace and D2L program. And yeah, in the start of the course, I was saying that grab the keys from here, right? So also the exam vouchers are supposed to be given from here as well. And normally what I used to do was I used to have, well, in another college where I teach VMware as well. So they have given me the whole access to this, where I can actually send request vouchers for the students on behalf of students as well. I could just create the whole course on behalf of the students as well. But here, all the access is with the Humber College VMware management or the tech support, and through the course coordinator, just like you got the keys as well. If you are inside that D2L Brightspace, and you could go where you see the keys here in the, if you have gotten the keys, so normally it does show you in the cart as well. So my orders, one of those orders actually shows you the exam vouchers as well. So if I try to go here and check it out, I was telling them, hey, give me the access so I could create the whole batch, and then let the students, I'll just give them the voucher as well. Whoever is added obviously can get the vouchers, but they didn't give me that access. So can I get the voucher is the question that you can ask from the course coordinator. I think it's Christopher or that you were talking to. And then, you could request voucher through him to, at the end of the course, the students are given 70% discount voucher for the VCP exam. Now, what exam is that? We can talk about that as well. So it's VCP7 VMware exam. And yeah, so the exam code is, so guys, there are some important things about the exam. Oh, guys, give me a sec. So I'll pause that. So give me 2 minutes. Okay, guys, so back here. Yeah, so I was saying that what is the exam name? So exam name is this 2v0-21.20 professional VMware exam, and I'll put that link here. In fact, I'll go for another slide. And it's the VCP exams. VCP7 certification. Okay, so VCP is certification. There are a few things to, email port and info. Okay, so first thing is that how to get the vouchers, which offers 70% discount. And we need to give one VCP 7 exam. So VMware Certified Professional. Get the exam vouchers. It's just one voucher, which offers 70% discount. So if the price, actual regular price is USD 250, but after discount it is maybe $60-70, 68 or something, more or less, right? So and we need to give one exam. The voucher needs to be requested from VMware Academy administrator, which is Humber IT support, and you may ask a course coordinator for this, because I don't have the rights. I'm not a VMware IT Academy administrator for this college. Otherwise, I would have distributed that at the end of the class, at the end of the course. So that's one thing. And second thing is that the course code is so well, course, not a certification. Certification code is, oh, well, that page actually has all the information. I just put that here in the chat, as well as this is the VCP exam info page. Also about the voucher. Well, once the voucher has been given by the IT support, then it will appear in your D2L VMware student site in my orders. Well, I was not able to actually see that my orders area, like your cart or like that, right? Um, Obviously, it's the work of IT support, but if they had given me the whole information or the rights, then I would have done much better job at letting you have the keys and even the book and the lots of things there. So that guy is he doesn't know he has to be told everything uh, through course coordinator, but now the voucher also is. I'm going to request the voucher. I'm going to request the course coordinator, but you can also all send an email to course coordinator that at the end of the course, we are supposed to be given a 70% discount voucher. From VMware. So you have to all together send a email to the course coordinator, and he should be asking the VMware IT support in Humber to send those vouchers in your D2L Brightspace area here, right? So, yeah, that's the procedure in Humber College. In another college where I teach VMware, so I do everything, and that's why I know that the vouchers can be given, and you just have to send all email. You are here right now, 6 people, so 4 more. So you can really all 10 can send numerous emails about hey, can you we have finished the course, or at the end of the course we are supposed to get exam 70% discount to VCP7 exam voucher. That's it. You send that email to the course coordinator, and he will then send that email to the Humber IT support that is responsible for VMware related tasks as well. If he has any issues, he will ask me, and I can explain him as well. Just send in the vouchers. That's it. So when you register the students in VMware, yes, the students are supposed to get one voucher manually at the end of the course. So I'll be waiting for you all to send email to the course coordinator, and then from there I'll try to take up, because he's gonna contact me obviously, or he's gonna CC me in the communication he's supposed to, unless the whole process is smooth and you get the vouchers without my interference. But if there's an issue, then let me know that whatever they responded, oh, sorry, we cannot give that. If they say that, then let me know and I'll tell them, hey, you can do that unless VMware has sent any kind of notification. No, from now on, we're not providing that, which is, I didn't hear any, such communication. So they're just supposed to provide you the vouchers. If there's an issue, just forward me that response. If the response says no, if the response is wait and we'll let you know, then okay, wait. And unless it's an issue, you just stay in contact with them. If there's an issue, then forward me that issue, that about the voucher. And the vouchers will come in the D2L Brightspace. One more thing is, yeah, actually D2L slash Brightspace. It's not my orders. I will have to check that site. Uh, and also, yeah, right. And also there will be, or at least should be, because it's a new site. So maybe they have changed the procedure, but should be an email confirmation about voucher arrival for now, I'm not sure that this is the way, but when the voucher was there, I used to tell the students, just go to D2L Brightspace site, and they would say, yes, sir, I got the voucher. So it could be an email, it may be just in the site, but they should communicate with you, right? And for the certification, when you are registering the registering for the exam, VCP exam, and which exam is that? Obviously, it's this exam. So when you're registering for the VMware vSphere 7.x 2v0-21.20 exam, you have to show the voucher. Not show the, like you will be registering from home. Exam. You will be registering from home. From the above mentioned site, because it has that you want to give the exam, then you can register site. So it will ask you, it will offer you to put the voucher and then final checkout must have the discounted price. Otherwise, don't check out, honestly, right? You're not supposed to be giving $250. So that's another thing for the voucher. And well, there are exam questions, and you might find a lot of other terminology, different terminology as well. But then try to just check out from many of the Google articles, and also they should be giving you the book for that. Guys, I'll be adding you to the VMware class in my LMS as well. So you could have access to all the VMware videos. There are many more videos as well for VMware that are just related to VMware, but they are topics that can be helpful for you as well. So there are exam questions, exam sample questions in on many websites, but you may Google them. So you should be writing their VMware VCP7 exam sample questions, or another word for that is dumps, DUMPS, dumps as well. If you type that, then you will find 300 or 400 exam questions, or 500 or 600 exam questions that can tell you, that would prepare you for the VMware certification exams. And any new terminologies, there are some sites there, like VLAN is very good site that really keeps you updated on many topics. Vlad, not Vladimir Putin. Vlad, okay, VMware. There's only one Vlad in VMware. He is the top guy. Okay, Vlad LAN. I think it's yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. VLAN.fr. So his site is one of the best sites I've seen. There are many other very good sites about VMware, but one of the best sites, where it has study guides and VMware, vSphere, and then there's 7. Yeah. So he has labs, step-by-step labs, and discussions for all the topics, and many more exam improvements that are coming here, many more newer topics that they have. So one of the best VMware study sites. So that is also a very good one. Okay, guys. So till here we go. Then there will be an exam 6:30 to 8:30, covering what we have covered from midterm till here now. So all be in the exam, and so that's it. If there are any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you next week for the uh, exam. Right. All right, guys. So
Thank you.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.
Upload everything.
Good
Bye
night,
bye,
sir.
everyone.
All right. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you. And upload. Wait, I did not. Okay, guys. So I'll stop the video and